And welcome. My name is Nicholas Carter, and today we will be talking about trends in wildland recreation. So, when looking at recreation trends, we typically want to look at the level of use, the type of use, and how an area is managed. So, for level of use, you're looking at resource impact, visitor experience, how many people you're getting a day, things like that. Type of use, again, resource impact and visitor experience. Also considering what kind of activities people are doing in an area. Are they hiking, fishing? Are they riding horses or driving ATVs? And implications to management. So what the management is doing, is that effective? Do people like it? Is it getting in the way of how people are experiencing things? These are all very important aspects to look at. And by looking at them, we can gather a lot of useful data on how to best manage an area and how to prepare for future seasons and make changes to provide the best visitor experience. Another thing to look at is how you're measuring your recreation use. So on one hand, we have the recreation visit, which is just one person entered the park, two people entered the park, so on and so forth until you get your total for the day, right? And then there's also the Recreation Visitor Day. And this unit of measurement was created by the United States Forest Service. And what it does is it puts the recreation visit in context of how long they spent there. So one RVD is equal to 12 hours, but that can be broken up into one person was there for 12 hours, or 4 people were there for 3 hours, or 2 people were there for 6 hours. And the Recreation Visitor Day is going to give you a lot better picture of where people are going and how much time they're spending in areas and how they're using your areas. So it just provides a more complete picture. Since we're in Maine, we're going to look at some of the most popular regions for day travel in Maine. You might have guessed the southern Maine coast, greater Portland area, and down east Acadia. So, Maine, we have a lot of open land. It's very beautiful. And why are these places the most popular? Well, number one, they're easily accessible to tourists. You know, if you're trying to get to Acadia, you just go up Route 1. It's not too far. There's a lot of amenities and things along the way for all of these areas. Number two, they're all beautiful and gorgeous, and you can't really compete with the Maine coastal views. They're some of the best on the East Coast. And effective marketing. So things like Instagram, YouTube, if you've ever seen like a little blurb about like someone's favorite restaurant in downtown Portland, you know, that catches eyes. And a video about the Precipice Trail in Acadia. You know, people are going to see that and think, maybe for vacation this year, I want to go to Maine. So these areas are the most popular in Maine. And a little fun fact about Maine, while we're on the topic, is that we participate in recreation activities at a higher rate than regional and national levels. But if you know anything about how land is owned in the state of Maine, this might be a shock to you because Maine is mostly private land. So it begs the question of, where are people doing the recreating? Of course, we know that the entire state of Maine is not packing themselves into all these tiny little parks here in the yellow. So where are people doing all this recreating? And so in the state of Maine, we operate under what's called implied permission. So unless a property is posted otherwise, all private land is open to recreational use. But the unspoken rule is always best ask first. Looking at some trends nationwide, and specifically in national parks, national park visits have gone up by 75% over the last 40 years. And with an increase in visitors, many people are starting to experience crowds or traffic and overfilled campsites. long wait times in lines, a lot of things that just like bog down the experience. So many national parks are starting to require permits or reservations to help cut down on the crowds, but also the pollution and all the noise impact that all these people have on the animals. And this is important because, and especially in popular national parks, the level of impact that comes with that many people is going to be really high. You know, if they want to keep the parks healthy, they need to be cognizant of how resilient the landscape in the park is. This here is a graph of impact over time. So in those first 2 to 5 years, you're going to see a very steep growth of impact on here, and then it'll plateau out, and then either the campsite will be closed or temporarily closed so that it can kind of regenerate and get that health back. And so if you're in a spot with low resilience, that's going to take a lot of time. The regeneration period is a lot longer than the impact. So if you have a large number of people going in to your national park, it's going to take more and more and more time to get it back to a point where it is recoverable. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.